For the Women's Month History Spectacular, this is what...
Who's your favorite woman?
My favorite woman would be your mom, and that's just...
That's also my favorite woman.
Yeah, so she's done a lot for both of us. You know what I mean?
Hi, Mom.
Raised me downstairs. You know what I'm saying?
She actually does listen to this podcast.
Okay, then she's, I guess, not my favorite. I don't know how you want me to correct that. If you're listening, you're not my favorite. I guess that bothered Danny.
No. I'm just letting you know.
Well, they said women are sharing the most offensive and inappropriate things they've been told by male coworkers and bosses. So this is BuzzFeed's doing a spooktacular of their own.
BuzzFeed's super spooky.
They said, and all of these are seriously messed up. So we want them to be heard. This is their time.
Yeah.
A lot of them are humble brags. Like, you'll never believe this. I walked into my office. My boss came up and he goes, "You're perfect. You're so beautiful."
Girl, you're amazing.
Yeah. I was in a meeting and nine male employees in unison yelled, "Girl, you're amazing. Just the way you are." I was walking down the stairs. I tried to get a coffee, and the CEO of the company looked at me and he goes, "Well, if we had more of you, we'd be a modeling company." One of them was her talking about how they.
She goes, I can't reach that glass up there. Can you get it? He goes, "You know what? I'll do you one better." And then he gets on all fours and she uses him as a stepladder.
That's what a lot of them are. A lot of them are stuff.
One of them is particularly insane, though.
Okay, let me do two, and then you do your insane one. Because my favorite ones were the ones where it really paints the boss like comically piggish.
Oh, yeah.
Where they go, okay, he goes, working at a local but very well-known news agency. They're constantly patting themselves in their back in the thing, right? He goes, "I complained to my male boss of other males in the office making sexual comments to me, so it never stops with her. And we'll give a thing. This isn't just some women's bash fest on our spectacular. I will admit that people say these things.
Yeah, for sure.
But some of these you go, it's either didn't happen or the funniest thing in the world."
Yeah.
And they go, the other guys in the office were saying things like her legs looked good. You know what I mean? Looking up her skirt when she goes upstairs, which is pretty wild to do to a coworker.
Yep. In an office.
No, you're on a mechanic's trolley and you sort of,
under the break workroom, like the break table, you just like kind of shoot out from underneath.
You scoot in and shake a peak. You're walking around the office with cameras on your shoes, for example.
Yeah, mirrors on your shoes.
Looking good. So she goes, I told them, they're walking around with the mirrors on their shoes, looking at my skirt, stuff like that, whistling. And then his response was, "Well, what do you expect when you look so good?" She goes, in the meeting with the CEO, she goes, "Listen," she's in HR. She goes, "I've been harassed all day, every day." And the guy goes, "What the fuck are you expecting, y'all looking so fine like that?" "Baby, you looking so damn good like that. You looking so good ass." You expect those employees just do work with you marching around looking good ass like that?
This is inappropriate for an accounting firm. I'd like to know the dates on these, to be honest, because it is actually way more egregious if it's something like this happened in the last year versus in 2007.
Baby, you know what? What those men did to you? I got 5 words. Those 5 words.
I mean, I guess if these guys just want to get fired.
Yeah, girl. Oh, come over here. I won't let those men touch your fine-ass titties.
Fine-ass titties.
Your fine-ass titties.
Now, can you get those copies for me? I need that for my 4 o'clock.
Yeah, give me those copies, girl. So the next one. I was working as a construction engineer in the field, wearing a V-neck shirt from Old Navy. The supervisor, 60 years old, walked over to her, and he says, "How about you keep that top button buttoned up so the guys don't drive into a ditch?" And she goes, "Bitch, my shirt didn't even have buttons."
I mean, that's definitely not something I would ever expect to happen at a construction site from a 60-year-old man.
"What's up, girl? How about you keep that fine-ass titties covered up? You trying to end up in a ditch?" Or is it an Italian guy?
It might be. I mean, that's pretty par for the course for a construction site.
You trying to get my hand sawed off, walking around with those big old jig old titties, jig old bitties jiggling around the site. You trying to get my hand sawed off? Hubba, girl. She just doesn't have any buttons on the shirt. Why don't you button that shirt up? I recommend. Well, then I reckon you better get yourself a clothespin. Pin that motherfucker up.
It is pretty crazy. He goes,
before I end up driving into a ditch.
It wasn't even like a good pickup line because he goes, I don't have buttons.
There's one more of those. This is the modeling one. Back in 2016, so she's in the military. She's been in for almost a decade, and she was selected for a prestigious duty. And very prestigious. We don't know what the prestigious duty was, but it was very prestigious.
Purple Heart.
The most prestigious duty.
President.
He totally broke that moment for me by saying, what are you doing off at this job? Girls like you should be off modeling. So you a supermodel, girl. Girl, you shouldn't be in no motherfucking Navy.
Yeah, why are you in the Army? You could be a model.
You could be a goddamn you could be a supermodel, goddamn it. So okay, tell me yours.
There is just this thing where women, until you reach a certain age, because at a certain age, women love the compliments, but before that age, they're like, the compliments are offensive. Yeah.
Then they're walking around with that V-neck, like,
yeah, go, hey,
probably
over here.
You guys don't want to be in a ditch, do you?
Do you need me to pick some stuff up?
you need me to clothespin this puppy up, or actually, we're fine. It's not really distracting at all.
She goes, you want me to button this thing up? And he goes, it doesn't have
Didn't
buttons.
even notice. Yeah,
it doesn't have buttons.
Didn't even notice.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to have buttons, but that doesn't have buttons.
He's the first. He noticed. He goes, doesn't have buttons. Why would I button that back up?
Anyways, can you get back to work? Stop dicking around.
Or he goes, the other male coworkers have been telling me that I look good, and he goes, no shit, you, huh?
Really? Because I talk to them all the time about who the hot ones are here. You've never come up.
Not once come up, and we shoot the shit a lot about.
That's pretty much all we talk about.
Yeah, we
never come up once.
We do a lot of titty talk, and I got to be honest with you. We mostly you're kind of like a grandmother to us.
Yeah. You sure it's not the other girl named Shannon? Because with this, you think it's you? Maybe, I guess.
I mean, possibly.
I guess I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Was it Carl? Carl's a little up top.
He'll fuck anything.
He's a little slow up top, so it's possible.
Yeah, he'll smash anybody.
What was your favorite one?
No, his number. I worked in IT for a well-known brokerage firm. When I announced my first pregnancy, I was told by male managers that it was a bad career move and I should consider abortion if I ever expected to advance. Imagine she's like, they're doing a little work baby shower. He goes, I'm pregnant. He goes, ugh, you might want to abort that if you ever want to be a middle manager. What? It's like,
when's the date of the abortion? you're keeping it. I mean, you're already pretty fat. Are you sure? Because that's not gonna be good for the career or the old jiggle behind your arm.
Imagine you're like, hey, I make you make 65 grand. If you want to make 75 grand, you might want to consider aborting your child.
Yeah, or it could be the original guy that goes, I find you want to abort that. Why? So I can fucking put one back in you. You can't get two babies inside you at the same time. I'm trying to get you pregnant, girl.
The one thing I will say is I don't doubt that there has been one guy at work who's just like, you ever considered abortion?
Yeah, just like
wasn't that the Joss Whedon?
James Damore.
I thought Joss Whedon, that was one of the criticisms against him with that woman. She got pregnant on Buffy.
Oh, he's a feminist.
But he said, you want to get maybe have an abortion so we could keep our shooting schedule?
Mm-hmm. I actually don't. I think that's that crazy. Honest to God, I could see myself if I had like this crazy shoot schedule.
No.
And the lead actress is like, hey, I'm going to have a baby. We're going to postpone this thing for 9 hours, 9 months. I would be like,
I
don't know if I have to be the one to say this.
No. For a shoot, agreed. If you're in the middle of a shoot and she goes, I'm pregnant, it's
going to cost me millions of dollars.
400 employees on this set. Like we're not shutting down for 9 months.
That's not
crazy. But if you work at like a paper company, and you're just like, hey,
you work at Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah, you work at Dunder Mifflin. Like, it might cost you the promotion to assistant manager. You might want to have that abortion.
Yeah. Oh, she goes, this one. On the ground outside, I was setting up tie-dye for 60 kids. She's a teacher. Working fast because my coworker is watching my kids so I can set up. The male coworker walks up to her. They're teaching grade 3s or whatever. He goes, I love the sight of a woman on her knees. And she said she taught 3rd grade at the time. So ballsy teacher. Walk up to the other 3rd grade teacher. Yeah. She's on her knees picking stuff up. And he goes, oops, puts his crotch in the face. Oops,
He goes,
I fell.
how'd that get there?
It's the Austin Powers. Oops, I fell. Oops, I fell again. I mean, that's one where you go, yeah, I mean, you can't be like, oh yeah, typical. A girl has to endure that every time. Your teacher, every time you bend over.
But again, a lot of these things, I don't doubt they happen.
I mean, I've said stuff like this to girls, but I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it like you're so hot. I'm saying it like
Well,
you're a pal.
I mean, I think we've seen.
We're comedians also.
But you've been around a lot where someone who's not good at jokes has a joke
Totally.
that doesn't land.
I feel like
And
I could get away with all this stuff.
for sure. But
I've never really had
even
a
if you
girl
think it's
get mad.
yeah, but even if you think that is a funny joke and then they don't get the joke and you just did something insane,
Yeah, you down bad, girl, on those knees.
they go, "What?
Girl, you down bad.
No,
right
that
now.
was a joke." You go, what about that was a joke?
I'm a vegetarian. Throughout the year I worked in this company, I was single. My manager told me in front of everyone that I don't have a boyfriend because vegetarians don't put meat in their mouth. So there's a bad dad joke for the bosses.
Yeah.
Like that, that's one where you go, for sure. But that's just a boss making a bad dad joke. Yeah.
Exactly. But they're always sexual jokes. in
Bad
nature. That's the
sexual
problem.
joke. There is, I've dated girls where they do say that there's an epidemic of bad jokes like that from coming from bosses in the 50s. Yeah.
I'm sure there
I think
are.
it comes a little more from people in their like 50-year-old guys than it does from people in our generation.
Yeah.
I think your average guy our age in a workplace is hanging on for dear life right now.
I mean, just
he's not
the
coming out telling girls he's
workplace-
going to put his balls in their mouth.
Workplace, unless you work in comedy, is not a place for jokes.
Maybe on the construction site though, yeah.
Yeah, on the construction site.
I'll tell you
it's
what,
just
I
the
don't think there's any
boys.
third grade teachers right now at our age coming out to girls. Yeah, get on those knees, you fucking slut.
Insane.
I was a server at a sports bar and grill. I was often tasked with shift leading, which came with a free meal, which led to gaining some weight, naturally. Because I would eat my normal meal and then I would come to work and stuff my fat fucking
and then I'd
face.
eat the free meal.
The second meal.
Because what, I'm gonna not eat it?
That's such a funny way to put it. Well, and
You
obviously,
blame the free meal.
yeah, obviously I put on a bit of weight because
Yeah, you could have just eaten that as the meal instead of had dinner.
That
before
being
you
said, that's one of those things that you do for about a week. Like whenever you're on set, for example,
Oh.
they give you free food and you do get fat. But then after a week, you go, okay, I can't just be eating buffet 24 hours a day.
just trays of cookies everywhere.
And then she goes, the manager whispered, he came behind her and whispered into her ear. So this is when she's getting, maybe, and he whispered in her ear, he goes, you need to stop losing weight because you're losing that butt and boobs. You're going to trim off that fat old ass of yours, baby girl.
Guys are crazy.
Yeah, maybe, well, she was trying to lose weight, but maybe, so it doesn't really make sense that, I was going to say maybe he didn't want her to keep eating the meal, but it's the opposite.
He wanted to fatten her up.
Headmaster at private school, so this is the guy that always gets head.
The headmaster. You don't think he's the master of giving head?
He's in charge of who gets it. All head must run through him. This is the headmaster. And then a male coworker was promoted over her, and she said, the reason the guy told her is because he's more sociable. And then she goes, translation, they drink together. So that one, you go, he hired his buddy, and you go, yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that's never happened before.
Two more. I work in a male-dominated industry. I ran a meeting once a week where my coworkers, all men, would routinely show up late, dick around, or not show up at all. After months of this, I talked to my boss, also a man, about how to deal with this. And then he told me the guys might be more inclined to come to the meeting if I brought treats.
It's like, or you're fired. How about that?
Who's fired? The girl.
If you don't bring treats to the meeting, you got to bring treats.
So, I mean, that's one of those ones where I don't know if it's I can't even make a judgment call. Like, there's a lot of wacky people out of there, but that is a pretty funny scenario. If you go, none of my employees respect me enough to come to my meetings.
Yeah.
And she goes, have you considered bringing treats? What if you baked some of that fun ass gingerbread man?
You got to bribe your employees into coming.
Have you considered some fun ass? Oh yeah, she could fire them.
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
maybe.
You go, hey, how about if you don't come to the meeting, you don't work here anymore?
You go,
It's kind of a mandatory meeting. You go, yeah, it'll be mandatory
yeah.
if there's treats.
If there's snacks.
You fucking get bacon, bitch.
Will there be snacks involved? If you answer my first question, will there be fruit roll-ups? And I'd like to see that Tootsie Roll. I was a mid-level employee working retail, just starting to work towards a promotion. A manager for a different department, also a woman. You have to say that one, have you? Also a woman.
Yeah.
Told me not to worry too much or work too hard because in the end, I'd get promoted eventually because the company needed to keep their diversity numbers up. She told me that it worked for her and I could always flirt and get what I wanted. That's the end of her story.
Yeah, that
she's
checks
mad
out.
about.
That actually does check out.
Crazy?
That's the one thing where that's the one where you go, yeah, that doesn't belong on this list.
This is the best thing. She goes, she's like, and this person came out to me lying, saying that I'll get promoted because of diversity and this and this. She goes, but that was a manager, you said. So, like, if a manager's telling you that, then probably actually.
Yeah, that's how I got here, and just follow her advice.
Decent advice, yeah. All right, thank you everyone for watching that clip. If you want to support the podcast, go to patreon.com/theboyscast, where we have a new episode every week. 5 bones, every week episode. Tons of episodes there now.
5 bones.
5 bones.
5 bones.
Support the boys.
It's $1.25 a week.